But anyways, back to the original topic, the tells. Two more tells that honestly I've both made by myself just in the past 3 weeks that I've noticed and really made sense to me. So if you don't want to listen to these, if you really don't trust me for one reason or the other, you don't have to. But this isn't like one you'll find on the internet. But what I've noticed is if you're a first tell, I'll give you two. If you're ever in a big pot that's like maybe you two bet it, you raise it up, a guy three bets you, maybe okay, yeah, just say he three bets you, and you're deciding whether or not to call a three bet. Say you're sitting there with like pocket nines or pocket tens, which you probably should call a three bet unless you guys know this guy's really tight. But he's most likely not gonna do it before you call. But say I'm over there, say I'm the opponent who three bet, whatever I threw in like 150, whatever, and that guy. I'm trying to make a decision on this guy. He's not going to do it, like I said, before you call, which makes it not the most useful tell ever. But it's good because if you call and you're unsure, once you make that call, say he raised you 150, I'm calling right now. This guy, what he's going to do, a lot of the times people will double check their cards, right? And the tell is that 95% of the time, again, like I said, one of those tells that's not very useful. You won't get to use it often, but very helpful. When he glances back at his cards, 95% of the time, after you call, and the dealer's, getting ready, burn card, he's about to flip the three, they're checking their cards, so they know what they have and they're ready to analyze the board. When they peek at their cards, they don't have a pocket pair. It might not sound too helpful, but especially when you're getting three bet or four bet into, you're worried about the kind of hands that are, double ace, pocket kings, ace king, pocket queens, the high pocket pairs that could have your pocket nines or pocket tens in deep trouble. So it's a big because if your pocket nines are against ace king, that's a much better shape than pocket nines versus pocket tens or something. So when they do this, the tell is just that people who have a pair, especially a high pair like jacks or better, they memorize that. It's very similar to the suited cards kind of thing. You remember when you only have one suit to remember. In this case, when I look up and see, right now I have 10-3. I wouldn't three bet with this hand unless I was really loose or I saw that guy at weak hand and he was messing around too. But let me see if I can get myself like an actual, we'll do pocket queens, whatever, just for the heck of it. What he's going to do is he's not going to glance back at his cards if he knows he has pocket queens. When somebody does this, remember it also connects to the tell where when you have a good hand, people look at the cards longer. He's gonna with pocket queens, he's gonna be staring at his hand for 2-3 seconds. So he's gonna know it's already gonna be in his head for an extra 1 or 2 seconds than if it was a bad hand. So he's already gonna know for sure, and it's just basic common sense. Two card, the exact same card, easier to remember than the other. So when you're deciding whether or not to call a three bet, and you do, most likely you're gonna have to wait to call the three bet until he does this. He might do it if you know what you're thinking for like 30, 40 seconds. You might get a little impatient and check his cards. I would say 9 out of 10 times he probably will have a hand like ace king, and that, like I said, it's only gonna reassure you. This read isn't gonna. That's why it's not super useful. You still have to make the call before you're gonna get this read, but at least going into the flop, your pocket nines are probably the best hand. If you call that, if you call that cold three bet, and he double checks his hand, he most likely has a hand like ace queen, ace king, king queen suited, something good, but not a pocket pair because you're gonna remember when you have two jacks, two aces, everybody sits there and pocket aces. Like, I have aces. What do I do? I'm gonna analyze stuff. You just don't forget that they're not gonna do this. So that's that tell. The next tell I'm gonna give you, which is very useful, and for the more amateur kind of players, will do it. I even did it when I was starting out. I would say about a 4 out of 10 player, 5 out of 10 player does it. Maybe the guy who plays once a month or whatever doesn't always win, comes close to winning. But what a guy's gonna do, this helps. The tell is that you can almost guaranteed know if what you're playing against the guy who has a straight. If your head's up, you can almost guaranteed read him to the point where you can tell that he has a straight. What usually happens is it's unlike, obviously you guys know it's hard to flop a straight, but it's possible. So like I said before in the other tells, you should definitely be watching your opponent when the flop comes out. That's the number one thing I could ever tell you. If you want to get anywhere in poker, do not stare at the flop right when it comes out. I would say about 30% of the time, 3 out of 10 flops, you're going to get information that's so valid. 3 out of 10 times, when he connects, when he hits. I'm saying not 3 out of 10 flops. He's not going to hit all 10 flops. Say he hit all 10 flops, or 10 different people hit every flop. They either made a pair or two pair or set. Glancing down their chips is the hugest tell ever. People always subconsciously do it. They see the flop, they see I have pocket five, they see a five. Boom. Just glance. They're just trying to mathematically sort out how much they have. How can they extract maximum value? Because 99% of the time they're the best hands. They flop a set or a two pair or something like that. Or if they flop a straight, obviously. Looking at other players or other player, a lot of times when you get to the higher level, you'll see pots become more and more heads up, or maybe 3-player pots, because most pots should be raised pre-flop, because people want the crappy hands out of there. But again, reiterating that tell, look at them when the flop comes out, and they'll glance at their chips, they'll do something that they'll get uncomfortable. They go like this if someone's real still, and the flop comes 4, 6, 8. They're kind of doing this, glance at the chips, uncomfortable. Even if they don't glance at the chips, you better be suspicious of that guy that's like this, or kind of, that flop hit him in the face is what that means. He probably has 5-7, or if it's 3 spades, he probably has 2 spades. It wouldn't be a far fetch, and it's extremely hard to say someone flopped a straight, like I said, because it's extremely unlikely. But tells like that are so strong that they're excited, they can't control the fact that they hit the card, whatever. But this tell here, anyways, is when you have 2 cards, I'm not even going to bother doing the cards. Say I have 5-6 in my hand, and the flop comes 4, 7, 8, right? Does that make it straight? Say the flop comes 4, 7, 8. What you're going to see a guy doing is he's going to check his cards first, and you're not going to be able to get a great tell out of that. That's not going to be much. But a slight head nod, I don't even know, because I'm pretty far away, and this camera's not the greatest. Amateurish players, I've caught people on this many times over the summer when I've been playing. Amateur players will slightly nod their head as if to make sure they're straight, not to count they're straight. I don't know why I'm making this more difficult than it is. Let's say I had 5-7 just to make it. So I have a 1-gapper, and the flop comes 6, 8, 9. That's a straight. I flopped a 5 through 9 straight. They're going to kind of be sitting there looking at, they're going to glance at the cards, and then they're going to go. I don't know if you can see my head nod, like I said, with bad quality, but I'm moving my head up and down. I'm exaggerating a little bit here, but they'll be looking at the cards. It might not be that much, but that is such a certain tell. They're not going to be doing that head for any other reason, unless they got headphones in. Maybe they're listening to music. If they're humming, they could be listening to music. But it's amateur players just do it. Once you get to the higher levels, you're not going to see people be that stupid, like 5, 6, 7, 8. But at a lower level, when you're just playing with your friends, whatever, just a get-together game, people, not that they have trouble counting to 5, but they just want to make sure they have it straight. You don't want to mess up and miscount. They slightly nod their head, and you'll kind of, again, see if they're counting their cards, they'll kind of be glancing their eyes across. So, again, you're not going to be able to see this from me. I'll look at the camera for that sake. I'd kind of be like this, and I'd be like, my eyes would be glancing across the board. Or they might go, if the 4's here, and wait, what do I have? I have 5, 7, and 6, 8, 9 on the board. If the 6 is here, like the 8's over here, and the 9's in the middle or something. After the flop of the turn, he goes like that. He's just piecing together in numerical order that straight. So again, that's a really low amateur tell. A lot of the higher, you'll never see it come up at the higher level, but the 4 out of 10, maybe a 5 out of 10 player will kind of be nodding their head to kind of, while they're counting to themselves quietly, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then, when they're doing this, if you have that 2 pair or something, and they put a big bet, you should probably fold, unless you're getting the right pot odds to call and try and make a full house, because they most likely have a straight. It could be, again, reads can be helpful for when you have the best hand trying to extract value. If you get that read, well, say he flops his he flops a straight draw and turns his straight, and say you have like ace king of spades and there's 2 spades on the board, then you kind of you would extract that value on the turn right there. You see he probably made it straight. He did the tell I just told you about, and you're still getting the right pot odds to call and try and make your flush 1 out of 5 times on the river, and you hit your flush. It can be great for extracting value because he'll see there's 3 spades if he's a decent player. but it's going to be hard for him to lay down a straight because he knows the only hand that beats him is two spades, what you have. So when you know what your opponent has, when you know you have a one-up hand of theirs, or like I said, a flush is one up from a straight, you can bet a decent amount because you know he has a strong hand. You know he's not sitting there with bottom pair. If you didn't know he flopped a straight, you might think he's just sticking in there with bottom pair, or bottom two pair might not be that strong when there's straight and flush possibilities out there. And you can extract maximum value with a bet when you know what your opponent has. So poker is so much about you can win tenfold, 10 times as much money and chips if you can really put your opponents on ranges of hands. Because if you know what your opponent has, all you have to do is basic math. I mean, just you're not gonna know exactly what they have, but sometimes you will. But if you know range of hands they have, all you gotta do is calculate your pot odds, and every time you can be profitable in Texas Hold'em. And obviously that's a lot harder said than done. It's very hard to see what people are thinking visually than, without actually seeing the two cards and ever being certain. But it's definitely possible, especially with the range I'm kind of teaching you guys. And the people I'm kind of playing against right now, they give a lot of these tells that I've been telling you about, no pun intended. And they can be very useful for helping you guys win money. So that's it for this video. I think after this tells video, I think I'm going to do a chip trick video, the chip twirl. It's a 3-chip trick. One of the harder ones. I'll either do the chip twirl or the chip pullover. Either way, they're both pretty cool. But yeah, I'll probably do a chip trick video after this anyways. So stay tuned for that. This will be the part 4 or 5 of this tells video. I know it's long, but hopefully you found them all useful. And you have literally 90 to 95% of the really good tells, really useful tells for the 5 to 7 out of 10 player range. So remember, you got to know your opponents, as I've said millions of times before. But 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, even 8 out of 10 players can give away these tells, which are very useful to putting your opponent on the hand and knowing when to toss your cards in the muck or shove all in and try and get called, or bluff, whatever. So thanks for watching this video, guys. I'm going to cut it here. Again, next video will be a chip trick, and stay tuned, comment if you guys got a topic to see. Thanks for watching.